guys, so I am back, and so I just had a huge editing day yesterday, which was Wednesday, and I spent all afternoon, and then I was up till like 2 o'clock in the morning between editing together my new vlogging intro for my vlogging segment. It took a while because I had to first off edit the music down to be short enough for an intro and have it sound the way I wanted without it being choppy. Then I had to go and find all the clips that I wanted to put in and have them fit in and put all the words on. So it took me a couple of hours just to do the intro, and then got that done, and then started editing the Nick Carter vlog footage. And that took me a long time because I had a lot of video that I took. I tried to cut it down as short as I possibly could, but it's still a long video. It's like 37, 38 minutes, something like that. And I hesitated on keeping it that length. I was thinking of trimming it down by cutting down the acoustic performances, but I just didn't have the heart to do it because I wanted to have this documentation of our day for me to look back on. And while I have all of the original unedited video clips that I could go and click on and watch, I'd have to, watch each one individually. And I just wanted to be able to put it together, the whole day together, that I could just sit down and watch the whole thing in its entirety and, relive such an awesome day that it was. And so, if it's too long for you guys, I apologize. But it was mainly for me to be able to look back on, and I really just could not bring myself to cut out any more than I already did. So, but I hope that you enjoyed it if you did watch it. So I didn't really, I missed a couple things at the end when I was kind of summing up the experience, and it's just because I was losing my voice, and I was just trying to keep it short, and I just needed to get to bed. There was a couple of things that I didn't mention. One was that, first off, I'm going to veer off for a second. I have Jeremy here because I want to get him dressed for Easter. So I'm kind of going to get him dressed as I chat about the rest of my experience and just kind of give you an update on how I'm feeling. So anyways, getting back to it, my friend Denise was the very first one to meet him, as you saw when he entered the room. It was funny, when we first got into the room before he came in and we were eating our very skimpy lunch. We thought it was going to be like a sit-down lunch meal at those round tables, almost like banquet style or something. And we thought there was going to be like a menu to choose from, because we had heard that when he did these lunches once before, that there was like a menu to choose from. But it was buffet style, and it was these sandwiches that the bread was super dry. They weren't appetizing at all. I just had a ham and cheese sandwich and almost gagged on it. So I piled up on the fruit. I got some yogurt with some fruit in there and some granola in there and made myself a little parfait. But that was about it. And we had a can of pop and then a bottle of water afterwards. And so, after we left, we definitely, when we met up with our friend Melissa before the concert, we went to dinner. We were starving. you know, we originally were, you know, before he arrived, when we were having the food, we were a little bit disappointed because we were thinking that the reason that, you know, the price of this event cost more than the regular VIP was because of the food. And we were like, man, you know, is this going to be worth it? Could we have just gone to the sound check regular VIP and saved a little bit of money and, you know, not had to worry about the food or whatever? Like, you know, we were thinking, man, what do we pay, you know, this extra money for when there's hardly anything to eat? So, you know, and we had to go and spend money on dinner after. So we just went to like a little Irish pub, and we had, which was funny because it was St. Patrick's Day. And I got fish and chips. But anyways, once he entered the room, all of that disappeared. We totally felt like it was worth the money, because with a regular meet and greet, you do not get a chance to say much. It's pretty much just a quick little hi, a hug, maybe one little sentence, and your picture taken, and then it's on to the next person. So this was a very unique experience in that when he first arrived in the room, as you saw in my video, he just went around and took his time with each individual person in that room to talk to them. And he wasn't rushing anyone. And, you know, some people had like 2 or 3 cameras that they were taking different pictures with him on, and he did not complain or say no or cut off anyone. So anyways, like I said, you know, we were originally sitting, when we got into the room, there were no seats close to where he was going to be. There was only seats in like the far corner of the room, but then all of a sudden they started bringing in more chairs, and I was like, oh my gosh, I see 2 seats that are like right near the entrance where he's going to come in. Let's move up. And so we did. We ran all the way up and got, you know, I was on one side of the door, Denise was on the other side of the door. So when he came in, he went straight to her, and she got a picture on her camera with him. And then, you know, afterwards, when he moved on to, you know, other fans, and we were watching him go around the room and everything, she started seeing people getting selfies on their cell phone and stuff, and she really wanted a selfie to be able to post on Instagram right away, like on her phone. And so I said, well, once he, you know, like she kind of said that after he met me. And I'm so thankful to my friend Denise for thinking to film me meeting him on her phone, because I was going to give her my camera to film it, but then I realized I needed my camera because I wanted to try and get him to film the intro. And I was shocked that he agreed to do it. I almost didn't ask him. I almost chickened out because I thought, nah, like he's not going to want to do that. I'm so glad that I just, you know, got up the guts to do it. And so the only thing that I talked to him about, the first thing that came to mind, he was just getting through a cold, as was I. It almost sounded like it was very similar. And so that was what we talked about, was being sick at the same time, like having the same cold or whatever. Because whenever I meet him, I'm so overwhelmed by the fact that he's there in front of me and he is like so gorgeous. My brain goes to mush and I can never think of anything to say. So, but this was the most I've ever said to him. This is my 3rd time meeting him, and you know, the first 2 times were the quick little picture hug, move along kind of thing. And so this was my one chance. Like, And I'm thinking, man, I should have like talked to him about other things, but you know, I just couldn't think. And the only thing that I knew is that after we had our little chat about our sickness, that I wanted to try to get him to film the intro. And so, you know, I explained to him what I do, that I have a YouTube channel and I make vlogs about my life. And I was wondering if he would do the intro for the vlog that I was making that day. And he's like, yeah, sure. He's like, just tell me what you want me to say. And he did it. And it was so cool. And, and then we hugged and yeah, so that was awesome. And so then anyways, it was after that that Denise was like, man, I should get a selfie with him, you know, because I got one. And, you know, and I'm like, well, maybe when he finishes the people next to me, when he comes back around, maybe I can get him to come over and do a selfie with you. You know, and she's thinking, oh, no, you know, like he's probably only, you know, once he sees someone, he's not going to go back to them or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know. He seems to be pretty laid back, seems to be taking his time. So I called him over as he was coming back my way. I was like, hey, Nick. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, my friend over there would like to have a selfie with you, if that's all right. And he's like, sure. And at this point, Denise was just getting her phone ready, and she had no idea that he was walking over to her. And I clearly heard him. He went right up to her, and she's busy looking at her phone, getting it ready. And he goes, you want a selfie with me, sweetie? And she just looked up at him like, huh? So it was just like so much fun. We were just like little teenage high school girls all over again. And it was so awesome. And then, so that was that. And then when they did the professional photos, you know, he actually tried to get out of doing the professional photos because almost everyone in that room also had bought the regular VIP package for right before the concert. Like it was literally happening, I think, like an hour or two after our lunch with him. And so he was like, well, we can just do the photos there then. But then, you know, the rest of us that hadn't bought that extra VIP, you know, we were told that part of the lunch package was that we would get professional photos with him. And we're like, no, you're not getting away with that, mister, because we paid for that, right? So he was like, okay, no problem. So so he did do the professional photos, and you know, we thought it would only be like one photo per person, but Denise and I had really wanted to get a picture of the two of us with him, like to get the three of us together. And so we had hoped to call him over again when he was still making the rounds, but then it didn't happen. So we thought we would try with the professional photographer. I'm like, I don't know if they'll do it, but we'll try. And then, you know, ahead of us in line, we saw people doing that where they were getting an individual picture with him and then they were grouping together with their friends for a group photo. So I was like, let's try it. So I went up first, I got my picture with him, and then Denise went and got her picture with him, and then she asked him if I could come back in and we could do a group photo. And he's like, oh, well, the other ones that did it, they were twins or siblings or whatever. He's like, are you twins? And we're like, no. And he's like, are you sisters? And Denise goes, we're Backstreet Sisters for like 20 years. And I'm like, we're best friends, please. And so he kind of like conferred with his security guard or whatever. And he's like, all right, come in quick. So we got our group photo with him. So that was really cool. So thank you, Denise, for convincing them or convincing him to let us do that. That was pretty awesome. And yeah, so that was really cool. And then another thing that was really funny was at the concert. I didn't get this on video, but when he was talking to the audience. It may have been like about a half hour into the concert or so. Oh, here comes Riley to say hi. Yeah, look, we have Jeremy here. He's getting ready for Easter in his next outfit. He looks very dapper in this outfit, doesn't he? Yeah, so he told the audience, he was like, Riley. So he was telling the audience at one point, it was really funny. He's like, we have a full show for you. We got lots of songs packed in this show. So he's like, get ready. He's like, drink lots of water and get your electrolytes. And like, you know, hang tight because we're in for the long haul here and stuff. So it was just really funny. And then, you know, like, as we were waiting for him to come on stage, they had an opening act. It was some girl named Riley. We didn't care for her, but the whole time we're just like, man, our feet and our legs, we just wanted to sit. We're like, we need seats, but, you know, we're just, so the whole time we're just like, man, we're getting too old for this stuff, but it was still so much fun. And, but yeah, the next day I barely had a voice. And my ears were ringing and popping until about Saturday afternoon. I think the fact that I had a cold probably made it worse because my ears were already popping a lot before even going to the concert. So I just think that paired with the loud music, not a good combination. But by Sunday morning, I was feeling a lot better. I managed to go and visit at my grandma's for the afternoon. My uncle was in from out of town and we haven't seen him in a few years. So I was able to go and visit and I was good to go for, you know, work on Monday and Tuesday. I was pretty much back to normal. My throat is still bothering me a little bit today on and off, and I still have a little bit of sinus stuff going on, but I'm definitely on the mend, and as you can probably tell, like, I'm talking a lot clearer. My voice isn't all scratchy and everything, but yeah, so I think that was all I wanted to fill you guys in, just stuff that I didn't touch upon, and yeah, it was amazing, and I've basically been on cloud 9 for the last week. Just reliving it all. It was beyond. I mean, I've met him before, you know, 2 other times before, and I've met, the very first Backstreet Boy I ever met was Brian. This was way back in 2006. Denise and I went to his concert, and after the concert, there was like an impromptu meet and greet. It was like a spur of the moment thing that he decided to come out and meet fans that were still stuck around after the concert. And so that was pretty cool. But we weren't allowed to take pictures, but I got my concert ticket signed and I got a hug from him. And so that was really awesome. And then in the summer of 2011, I met Nick Carter for the first time. And it was such a fast experience that I barely remember any of it. All I remember was he was trying to sign my name on my CD along with his autograph, and he kept screwing up the spelling of my name. And I was like, you can keep screwing up my name all you want because it's buying me more time to stare at you. I mean, I was just thinking that in my head. But I just remember, like, I really didn't get to say a whole lot to him, except I did tell him to let Howie from the Backstreet Boys know that I wanted to thank him for the stuff that he does for the Lupus Foundation, because Howie's sister died of lupus many, many years ago, back when I was in high school. And he has his own foundation for lupus. And so I just, you know, I let Nick know that I was recently diagnosed, because I think that I was only diagnosed a year before I met him. And I just, you know, wanted him to pass along the message to Howie. So that was all I really remember saying to him. And I hugged him and got his autograph. And my friend kind of took a picture of us hugging, but I had my camera zoomed in and I forgot to zoom it out before passing it to her, and she didn't know how to fix the zoom, so it was like a super close-up of our heads. Not the greatest photo, and we weren't allowed to actually get like photos with him. And then in the summer of 2013, Alex bought me the VIP package to meet the Backstreet Boys, which was awesome to meet all 5 of them. But again, they were running behind schedule, and there was probably at least 200 fans to get through. And so it was literally just saying hi to each one of them. I think I shook their hands or gave each one of them a hug or something. I think I hugged each one of them and said hi, and then we took our picture together, and then I gave Nick Carter one last hug. I've always managed to get 2 hugs out of him. I don't know if I did it this time. I can't remember if I hugged him when he came up to me. I think I did. I probably did. I usually always get a hug out of him from at the beginning and at the end of the meeting. So I always make sure to get 2. But, yeah, so it was, again, it was just super, super quick. But it was, you know, like, you know. But so for me, this was probably the best experience just because it wasn't rushed. And, you know, he really took his time and was really personable with all of his fans and just wanted to hang out with everyone. And, you know, the fact that he did the intro, it was just awesome. And anyways, I'm going to stop rambling, but I can't get over it. And Denise and I said we definitely want to do it again if he ever does that again. It could be a while, though, before he goes on solo tour again, because next summer, like 2017, the Backstreet Boys will be touring as a group. So if anything, we'll probably do the Backstreet Boy VIP, but we know that that's going to be like quick, but we'll see. Anyways, here's Mr. Jeremy. He's all looking dapper and ready for Easter. I just love this outfit on him. I got it from Next clothing line, and then the pants are from Carter's and the socks are from Carter's, but I love it. Look, he's gonna lean on Riley. Mr. Riley has to get in on the video, right? Let's see. There he is. Hey, Riley? Riley, say hi, everybody. Say hi. All right, guys. Well, here is Jeremy and Riley together. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to me ramble and joining Riley and Jeremy and I for this little changing chat video. And we will see you next time. Bye, guys.